Get going in this morning's live. I first want to say I appreciate each and every one of you being here. As you know, yesterday when we tried to do the live, for whatever reason, it wouldn't load on YouTube. It's happened many times in the past, so it's nothing new. And then it would only load in vertical, so it was nice to at least put an update out. But if you've noticed across YouTube, there's a bit of an issue right now. So whether or not you're able to see this is going to be a big question. Some of my favorite YouTubers that have millions of followers, their videos are getting about 5% of the views they normally do. So that probably doesn't bode well for me. Um, for some reason, YouTube's having an issue the last couple of days, which is becoming more and more noticeable to some of the other people I watch. Like, some of the, not like our normal YouTubers like me, but the ones who are bigger YouTubers. You can clearly see that their numbers have been affected for whatever reason. I don't know if there's a glitch, if there's a bug, and I've noticed for other people in the space too that have a lot more followers than I do. And for some reason, like the last 2 days, I'm like, why are they getting so little views? So we'll see. We'll see if there's an issue that continues to go on, but there's definitely something broken with the way they're pushing out like the ones that I like to watch, even their content. I have no idea it's even coming out. And it's like I have to seek it out. So it's pretty weird because ones that have been in my timeline for like 5 years are not there anymore. So I was going to do an update, but I just figured, you know what, I'm going to do a live. I never know how it's going to go at night with my son being at school full time and with the way YouTube stuff's been. So I figured I was going to do an update either way. So we'll see how this flows. If there's a lot of questions as I get through this, I'll stay on longer. If not, I'll just do this as like a 20-minute update or so. I'm doing a lot of work outside. I stopped going to Hotworks. Right now the gym's not even working. Supposedly like a wire got fried and it's taken DT a long time to fix it. But nonetheless, the owner's a bit out of place. So it's like, I think you guys remember. I've been going there almost 4 years and it's like, sometimes you got to learn how to treat and talk to your customers. So I'm not going to support somebody who's, but anyhow, I'm building something out back. I'm going to put in, it's almost like a carport looking thing for a car. It has to fit an 8x10 setting. I bought a piece of equipment that, just like for your triceps and bicep pull down, and it's also got like for your legs and stuff. But I'm building a little thing outside, and I started to level the ground today. I'm using I got to get like 800 pounds of dirt to do what I'm doing. I'm waiting for it to come in. But I'm doing something, and instead of paying somebody else, I'm just going to build my own thing on site. So it's going to be interesting because I don't have room inside, so it's going to be outside. But with that being said, good morning. 9:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Friday, September 5th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So, with XRP right now, the biggest thing that I want to say, we were expecting this push up, just like with Bitcoin, just like with Ethereum. The question is this a back test for a rejection, or is this where we get that bullish continuation and now end up pushing ourselves into alt season prior to the September 17th, which we deem to be, should be a rate cut? Obviously we don't know. There's one other thing I'm watching this morning, and it's perplexing. Gold just shot out of a cannon again. I'm expecting a little bit more of a consolidation with what it did yesterday. Not a major one, but what I was expecting, but what I was thinking could happen. It might have happened though, because overnight it had that, maybe it did. Because it's been the last couple 30 minutes, but it did drop all the way down to 3,500. I think what I would have been expecting was this drop probably down to like 34, 38. So did it bounce up faster? I mean, you could say that. You could certainly say that. I almost half expected it to come back down there. But some kind of news this morning got the gold market all hot and bothered. But, we know our short target's 41.15, so maybe it's just going to run all the way up there. Maybe gold's just going to run all the way up there, but that's definitely an outlier this morning. So risk on looks good, but the biggest risk on and off with gold and silver is shooting out of a cannon right now. Silver's back up to 41.23. The mining stocks look freaking spectacular in pre-market. So it's like as fast as they give it back is as fast as they're taking it back. So it's like it's almost selling back. Hey, look at that. I sold in it. First Majestic went down 4.2%. Here we are up 3.2 in pre-market. So it's like it's not a trader's time right now. It really isn't. Now, crypto, in other words, for XRP, the biggest thing we're looking for now that we got outside of some of the news and notes, the biggest thing we're looking for is XRP just coming up for a rejection point here because it looks like it's in the midst of an ABC corrective wave. And if that's the case, you know, you would think the top side potential, even if it breaks up a little bit here, would be about 294 in real time. So massively overbought now in the 2-hourly, which when you see it start doing that, we don't have an extreme tug in volume. We have a little bit of positive flow in the moving average convergence divergence, which you would expect right now. Nothing overwhelming. No big breakout yet. Because we haven't got to the right fundamental level to prove whether or not we're actually having a continuation or if we're coming for a rejection. So it's very dicey right now. 289 to 292 is that range that you would have a proper rejection. Even up to 294 you can extend out. That would be a proper range to get rejected. And then if you started pushing out more, well, we can see right now it's still set up at 294, even if you look at it slightly different. This underneath support's right around 281. On this particular chart, if you go to the other one, it's slightly different. Whoops. We know where that's at. Hold on one sec. All right. So that's like, I think it was 281. Okay, 282. But we're trying to stay above there. That's a nice inverse head and shoulders setup. And then we're going to have to get over that 294. But going back to this chart, I like this one better. Because this is the one we opened it up. And we tried to take a little more evidence of what we're seeing. So we tried to open it up a little bit. So you can honestly say that there's a third. Obviously, the 270 support to me is very important. But we've got to get outside of this. Otherwise, it's just a normal consolidation and we can drop out if this doesn't happen. And then you see a couple of the minor repercussions that could possibly play out. But from the bullish standpoint, I mean, you're talking about a push out to like 375, and that would clearly make all-time highs. Not on all exchanges still, but very close. Some exchanges had like 385, so it's speculative on their exchange what it would be at for pricing. 4-hourly still got room moving up. So, I mean, right now it looks like it's coming up for that proper retest. So we'll see if this would be a bearish rejection or if we can have a bullish continuation. In order for this to be a bullish continuation and head out towards $4, we need to get over 294, hold that, and ultimately prove to ourselves that we can get over that 306 level and start cooking. Then, yeah, we would have another space up in between a couple of them, but then the next major level would be around $3.30. And then we would want to make sure we can get over now in real time around that $3.07. Well, we'll see if it's real time or not. We'll measure this. We'll measure exactly where it's at. That was a speculative level before we knew exactly where it was coming to. I don't like that. I'd rather do it like that. Let's say it breaks out, I don't know, somewhere back here. What's the date here? The apex would be about somewhere between September. Ooh, look at that. Almost can't make this shit up when you start looking at it with the word if it stayed in it. Because you would have a make it or break it point on September 16th, 17th. I mean, what comes on that day? That's the 2-day FOMC meeting. See this? Something is lining up. It's just, let's put it this way. Can I put it a certain way so we can get a refined number? The question is, are we breaking out and going to push that let's just say 374, or on that fateful day, are we going to push down and start push $1.88? You know, which direction are we going to take? That is the big question. That's the big question. That is the big question. Like, there's no other reason to sugarcoat it. This was only a further drop from here on this setup. If this doesn't, well, I guess it would have to be the same, because if it doesn't invalidate it, it would still have that micro drop. So, okay. So that's what we're talking about here. Is XRP going to continue to break out and then by mid-September? Because when we were talking about this a couple months ago, it's like, oh, September's so far out, blah, blah, blah. Now it's September 5th. We're 11 days away from this technical apex moment of something needing to decide itself. And heavy volatility, because it can go between 276 and all the way up to like $2.94. Then it could come back down to $2.77. And it can bounce around in here for the next 10 days as well. So I love this. And then with the moving average convergence, divergence, the money flow in the 4 hourly is a little bit positive here. And then with the relative strength index, the stochastic below, I mean, you can see we're pushing up, still have some space. That's telling us we should come up a little bit higher here regardless, in my opinion. This is telling us we should come up higher. We talked about it yesterday. We talked about it the day before. Bitcoin, XRP, it doesn't matter what you look at. There's these retests that have to happen. Ethereum in real time, if this is a rising wedge that it's got to get rejected on, we still got space. It's around 4,700 and some change. So that's something that you're watching, and this is something that we've been paying attention to. That's why I thought XDC the other day was such a great time to buy it, because it had a nice consolidation after everybody probably thought it was going to pump right away on KRAKEN. It went the other way for a minute, and then it sat down around 7.5, 7.6, and now today it started to push out in some sense. But now I think a lot of people are going to look at it and be like, hey, it's up 7%. I'm going to buy, or it was up 7.5 or whatever it was. They're looking at it and they're like, well, I'm going to buy it now. But it's like, my question is, why weren't you buying it at 7.6? Why are you waiting for it to get so overbought? Now you're susceptible to, you know what's going to happen at some point. Now, if you didn't buy XDC, my suggestion, and I'm just an idiot, you know, for all intents and purposes. I'm just some guy doing this on YouTube, so I'm not a financial advisor. And I'm not pretending to play one, nor do I want to be one. This is for entertainment purposes only. Yada, 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 so on and so forth. My suggestion would be, is you've got one of two choices right now. One, you try to target this back test when eventually this runs out of steam here and it back tests this pattern breakout of 7.9, or you see what it decides to do here, and you can take a chance here, or you can wait 5% because you waited so long, and the chances are it's going to consolidate probably before it comes all the way up here. No, don't go higher than it was. So it'll probably end up being like 6.7% from here. But if it's probably going to consolidate at some point before it finishes that move. So your best bet would be to see how it reacts on a back test around the 8 cent area, 7.98. Because I got a lot of questions earlier, or a lot of people were asking. So 400 pounds of my dirt just got here. How awesome is that? It's cool though, because like you can buy a 40-pound bag of topsoil. It's like $2.80 right now. It's better when it's this time of the year for sure. So I had to buy like 10 bags from one store, 10 bags from another store. Because, you know, you can't have people do too much work, and then they won't take the order. Sad state of affairs we live in. But the other problem is, too, can I just say one thing that we've noticed a lot on Fridays? We've noticed a lot of pumps that happen on Friday. Well, think about this. While everybody's at work, they're waiting for that Friday paycheck to drop. Just think about it. Most people get paid on Fridays. Now, some people get paid every 2 weeks on Friday or every other week on Thursday, whatever. But most people get paid on Friday. It's a big payday. And it's a remarkable what happens in crypto most Fridays. No matter how bearish we usually have a run on Friday. And for whatever reason, and I'll explain what I think the reason is, it ends up dumping out right around pay time. So people get out at 4, 5, 6 o'clock. They get to the bank. By the time they get home, it's about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. And they're all got their money in their accounts. They get excited. They get their little bottle of gin, their little Jack and Coke. They get their little cigar, their little stogie, maybe a little joint. Whatever they got to do, get themselves a brewski if they got to. You know, whatever they got to do to get past the week. Hopefully not any hard drugs, but some are even doing that because they've had a hard week and they haven't had the mental capacity to cope properly. Maybe they will someday because, you know, you're not always broken forever. My sister's a good example. She was a heroin addict for over 10 years and she's been clean for 4, crossing our fingers. But, you know, so whatever you got to do, and then you get in front of the screen and you look at it and you go, oh man, I got some money here. I just make 3, 4, what, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. Some make 10, 20, I don't know how much you make weekly. Some make 500. But you're looking at it and you're like, okay, it's Friday. The market's pumping. I worked hard all week. I'm going to make a nice trade for an investment here for the weekend. I'm going to make some money by Monday. You buy in, you're sitting there, and all of a sudden that brewski turns into, wait a minute. I'm on my 3rd brewski. My cigar's almost gone, and all of a sudden I'm down 8%. This market just pumped all god darn day, and I just put my hard-earned money in here. What do you mean I'm down 8%? This is bullshit. You know, and now you're sitting there and you're going, well, I'm not going to let it ride any farther. Or you let it ride farther because you're like, I'll be damned if I sell it for 8%. And then you run into the weekend trap where all of a sudden it dumps down, right? But not understanding a Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the CME gap, not realizing that most times, about 90% of the time by Monday, it's going to come right back to where it was Friday night when it closed at 8 p.m. Just listen to me. So Friday night at 8 p.m., let's say XRP closes at 286.7. Saturday, it's at 299. Most likely by Monday morning, it's going to be back around 286. So then you have a short opportunity. Conversely, XRP drops to 250. Everybody's losing their shit on Saturday night. More than likely by Monday morning, it's going to be back around 286. So then you can long the shit out of it. You know, it doesn't always happen, but go look back at the past, 4 weekends it's been doing this on basis. Friday it'll do something, Saturday it'll correct back, Sunday it'll sit still, and then by Monday, it's doing what it's doing. It happens every single weekend. No, the math ain't math, and it never does. It never does. The amount of support has been, it's been fantastic by some, but, you know, missing by most. Like, you know, 30 likes, 85 people watching, it pretty much sums it up. I get it. But yeah, it's this range. So I know 289 is a resistance, but I like to extend it out to 294 now just because of an overzealous wick with the way the pattern is set up. That's the only reason. But as we can see, this 200 day is starting to trend along towards where this would end up meeting, even if this took a little, you know, if it did something. But this seems like this doesn't seem like it would take until Wednesday. It almost seems like we could get an overzealous. I don't know. We'll see how this plays out. But it's just, we notice trends here every single week. And that's why I love everybody who comes here day after day, week after week, month after month. Been doing this since September 24th of 2021 like a robot, never missing a day. And we're going to be doing more lives in this time. It's going to be the way it is during the week. My son's at school. And as much as I love the 6 p.m. lives, with him going to school all day, with him being autistic and special needs and, you know, nonverbal, but having very sensitive, being in school all day, you know, this might be the best recipe. But I'm still going to aim for the 6 o'clock lives as well, obviously. But this would be a guaranteed way for us to stay together. In a live setting. So, and I don't mind if there's 10 people in here. Sometimes it makes it better. But yeah, we'll continue to talk about what we talked about for the first 20 minutes. But I want to say hi to some of my beautiful friends in the audience. Just a beautiful audience we have. And if you want to show support for the show, consider joining Tom's Army. You get the Telegram exclusively. Just, if you want to be in the Telegram, just support me through Tom's Army. There's too many people that are trying to imitate and now trying to monetize off of my Telegram. You know, it's not there for everybody to try to share links and try to make bank off of, you know, other people. Because what ends up happening, even if you're doing it good-hearted and you're trying to share a link so people can get a little bit of a reward and things like that, all it takes is one spammer to clone your settings and the way you look, and they're going to create a fake way, and they're going to steal everybody's crypto. It's happened before, and it'll happen again. So, like, you know, if you want to show support, join Tom's Army. You get the Telegram exclusively. It's in the members-only section of YouTube. And then you can talk to us more exclusively. There's so much help. There's so much stuff going on. There's 473 members here. And think about it, 473 members in the Telegram and 261 members of Tom's Army. So, even that is not evenly weighted. But I didn't start it until, we had many members. But that just shows you kind of what somebody said in the audience about things not being where they should be with the support. But, that doesn't numb it any less. I appreciate everybody and what I do and what you do. So Dan Marginal, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your second month with the Dusty Dados Crypto News along with Just Send It. Alex Carbonelli, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Mosey here, good morning and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first over 1 year with the I Told You So badge along with Mark Caston, CJ2 Pilot as well. Appreciate all three of you for that continued support. Frisky Auto, Jay Freemix, Sola Jeffy, Need for Speed, good morning to you guys. Thank you so much for your continued support and watching and commenting. Frankie Fresh, Mick Shoot, Craig Carlson, thank you for being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. Aaron Reynolds, I appreciate you continuing in Tom's Army for over 3 months now with the XRP Meteor. Shane's also closing in on 3+ months with his Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News for over 2 months plus. Appreciate that, Shane, and all your dedication in the Telegram. He's been one of the most vocal when it comes to trying to help people being able to trade certain assets, especially on the XRP ledger and other places that are not the easiest to trade on. So definitely a beautiful soul right there. Miss G. Scott, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month, along with Mr. G. Stott as well, and his second month with the Dusty House Crypto News. Thank you both so much. And I don't want to say, especially Mrs. G. Stott, but Mr. Stott, it's a lot more impressive for my female audience to be watching the crypto and trying to understand the investment side of things, because I feel like over a societal poll, we made the woman, our female companion, our better half, our significant other, for many, many decades, it was like you are in the home and this and that, and it couldn't have been farther from the truth that was the exact role. It was part of it. See, the nurturing role is part of it, but what ended up with the man, and I watch it in my own living, not with myself, but with siblings and parents and yada yada yada, so on and so forth. Is it ends up being a all or nothing thing. The woman has to do all this and that. That's not what it's supposed to be for. No, the woman's the nurturing part of the house. That means like when the child's young for the first 6 months, you want them to have that tug with the mom. That doesn't mean you don't do anything as a dad with the child. It just means for that time you've got to kind of step to the side and be like, I'll be there when I need to be there. But after that, it's all hands on deck. But that means you got to pick up more around the house and do what you got to do even with work. So anyhow, Vado Damas, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Syrian, good morning and thanks for being a very trusted mod, my very, very beautiful soul as well in this audience. Trusted mod in here and in the Telegram, and so very helpful and so positive and such a beautiful soul. UK Phil, good morning and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Have they kicked Fortnite in the nuts this season? Can't even log into it this anymore. Not until the next one. I thought it was going to be so much different. One day we'll play again though, UK Phil, I promise. Set Apart Spirit, and it would make some of you surprised. I'm actually really good at it and I can build really good because my nephew, who doesn't play it anymore, but he made me learn over like 4 years when he was like 7 to 11. And now I go on, I'm like, man, I'm too old to be this good at this game. Set Apart Spirit, welcome in. 1970 legend, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. My my beautiful Buckeye down south, who couldn't let Michigan have a championship for more than 1 year. But hey, it's okay. I'd rather keep it in the Big Ten. I must admit myself that I was rooting for Ohio State in the championship. Wow, they brought my other 400 pounds of dirt from the other store. Look at that. So I got 800 pounds of dirt, 20 40-pound bags, and it cost me about 60 bucks. Plus I tipped each of them like 8 bucks a piece because they were carrying so much. So about 70 bucks. But they did me a good service because I broke my back a long time ago. So the less carrying I have to do out of a store and home, the better. But anyhow, I got some work to do in the backyard. I'm building myself my own weight section, so my weights don't have to be inside anymore. I'm not going to the gym anymore. The lady got too big-headed who owned it, but it hasn't even worked for 2 weeks. It's been falling apart. You guys know the story about my hot works in Clawson. But I'm building my own little section out back now, so I'm doing the foundation, the floor right now, but it's going to be different because it's outside. And then I'm building like what you would build if you wanted a carport. It's winterproof, can hold snow, all this other stuff. Me and Julie are going to put it together when it comes in on the 12th. But I got to do the foundation first on the floor. But we're putting that together, and it's going to be, it can fit an 8x10 space. It's a little bit bigger, but I need 8x10 at max, or the max that I would need would be 8x10. So I said that's the minimum I'm going to build it, is the maximum I needed. 8x10 is way too big, but I'm still doing it that way. So it's going to be cool. I'm trying to use my own mind now. And I figure this whole project's going to cost me about $800 to $900. I got a nice piece of equipment. It's got a pulley, but it's like the tricep, bicep, lat pull down kind of thing. And then it's also got a seat where you can sit on, and you're going to have your feet out, and you can row and do that kind of thing. Do some stuff for your legs and glutes and hamstrings and calves and things. It'll be good for Julie too. I'm having it professionally installed, so I'm actually paying the $99 to have somebody put it together because they come from the company that sold the equipment, and they come out on the 18th. And I would rather it be professionally built just because, you know, who knows, the kids might use it, and, you know, can't have an error because of, you know, wanting to save a few dollars. So that's the rare occasion when I paid for somebody to do the installation. But it's because it's a piece of weight equipment. Just like I'd want the gym, not the owner of the gym, but I'd want somebody who's putting the equipment together to do it. Like, I understand we can service it, but there's a reason why you have to get it serviced in a certain way. I used to be a personal trainer, so I know how finicky it is. The last thing you want is a pulley to snap or something stupid. But anyhow, that's my thing today. It's going to take me probably 3.5 hours. I've already done about 45 minutes of leveling. But this is going to be a bitch, so that's what I'm going to do next. I didn't lift weights today because of it. So it's this will be my weightlifting today. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Set Apart Spirit, thank you so much for appreciating my dedication. I love it. Yeah, Frankie, see? Admitting being a victim is the first step to not being a victim, like Mr. G. Stott said. I guess I don't have to say Mr. G. Stott because he is, in fact, G. Stott. Mrs. Stott puts Mrs. G. Stott. I think so we can understand that they're both, I think, I like it. I like seeing families in here. Mr. G. Stott, you better treat her good, though. You know, we're a community that likes to treat our women with praise, and I believe you do. I can sense it. Dirty Dozen, welcome in. Tyndale, good morning. King Dee, welcome in. Or King Day. I like Day. I like to say Day just because it reminds me of Friday. Day. Let's see. But thanks for being a very trusted 1970 legend. I love it. I love it. Hey, we need Ohio State to be good. Otherwise, we wouldn't have aspired to cheat like them. And you have to cheat to win titles versus SEC. So I've been begging for 20 years to do what we finally are doing. Pay the players. No excuses. Oh, yeah, Frank, I'm always busy working. I don't take my time lightly because, you know, I'm only going to be 41 for a little bit longer. And, you know, the truth is I've only got about, well, no, that's not true. Because I've seen people farming and doing some heavy shit into their 80s and 90s. So no excuses. It's how long can we keep ourselves moving up? What do we think for the weekend? Shane, great question. We got to see what we're going to see right now is I believe that tug up to around 294. Maybe it'll stop at 289, but I think we have a maximum tug at 294. We're going to see how we react in that resistance zone. And if we can get past it and you see us get up towards $3.06 and back test this zone, it's going to be special if we can hold it. We're running towards the apex. We're already past the 70 percentile of this move, which means at any moment up until September 16th, we can break out. Which breaking out, remember, is not defined by just pushing bullish. A breakout can also be in the down direction. It's just a breakout, whether up or down, out of a pattern consolidation. And right now, all ends are meeting. September 16th is the make it or break it day. So that's definitely something to pay attention to. As you've noticed, I haven't been going so much off of the XRP chart lately. I do show other ones, but I've been putting a lot more time into XRP because we're coming down into the make it or break it zone. How is it looking outside today? Not as stellar as I would like for working, but it's also not cold and it's not too hot, so I can't complain. I don't live in Perth, so I'm not sure why it chose that. Oh yeah, I put it out for other sides of the world, but where? Oh, here we go. I was gonna say, where's mine? It's below. 60 degrees right now, no sun, very cloudy. Decent working weather though. The only problem is for the, ones with injuries in the bones and backs and tendons and all that. It makes you a little sore at this time. So, but it's actually not bad working weather. I'd rather it be. I don't know. I actually do like when it's 90 degrees when I'm working. I love that feeling of humidity and drenched in sweat and feeling like your body's like, you know. Plus, it's good for cutting, like toning. Like for anybody who works out, when you're working outside and you're sweating that, you're toning up real good too because you're getting out all that water. But yeah, Saturday's gonna be a great day as well. I'm going to my dad's to watch the Michigan versus Oklahoma game. It starts at 7:30. I'm gonna be wearing my belts, my championship belts. This is the first week that I can actually bring in my national title belt and my other belt that I have, as you guys know. I had them made in Dubai. They took like 6 months to come in. And I had they didn't even make them really like this, but I am doing it in 4mm brass, and it looks really fucking cool. I couldn't have them do it in, there's other materials, like hard material, but I couldn't have them do it in the USA or China or anything, so I targeted Dubai. Oh, and I'm glad I did. Anyhow, if anybody knows how to pawn off a great looking piece of jewelry that looks like a piece of gold, and it's only fucking, brass and stuff, that would be Dubai. And they did a great job. So, what I'm thinking, like Shane, this weekend, is we've got to see if we can get past these resistance zones. It's the same area we've been calling for the last couple of days to get this resistance. It just, can we get past it? Can we get past it? Can we get past it? I don't know. No volume flow is looking any better. There's no volume coming in here. Like, the big thing that we have to realize is if we want to have a significant breakout, we are going to have to, at some point, somehow, some way, who knows how, who knows when, who knows where, who knows why, who knows how, who knows who does it, who knows where it comes from. But we need some freaking volume. Okay? And when we're showing red volume, we certainly don't want to see the red volume superseding the other volume. And we certainly don't want to see the volume equal. We want to see some kind of cut down. Right now, the volume's not even crashing. We maintain the same volume we had in the green, which means it might not be an artificial push down. But we don't know. I don't know. You don't know. We don't know. Nobody knows. It's like George Carlin said, nobody knows what the fuck's going on because we're not part of the club. All we can do is give it our best guess and call the bullshit out as it comes. Or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. But somewhere, somehow, I know George Carlin is smiling down because he's saying, man, oh man, how many of you once frowned? But in reality, look at all of you. You've been down by the very fucking system I called out for eons and eons, and everybody thought I was a fucking idiot. It's crazy how that works. Even the ones who hated now tout and call him stout. He led you down the right route before anybody else did. That's what we're trying to do. It's so crazy. You just got to follow. But listen, here's the other thing. You know what else I realized? And we talked about this, and I feel compelled to tell my 92 people watching right now and the beautiful souls here. Whenever we call out manipulation and we say, damn it, it's these market makers or we'd be rich. These cocksuckers, it's the only reason it's going down. We're playing the victim. We're still playing the victim. So what we need to do is say why. What's the most likely outcome to lead us to where we know it should go? And what would be the route that it takes to cause the most pain in retail? And that's what we often get. So like, no more victim. I'm going to do a better job. And I know you can hear the change in my voice, the change in the positivity, because I don't want any negativity. And it starts with me. Once I start inviting it in, so many others bring it too. So I got to cut it off at the neck. We're not doing that no more. We're taking the negativity and we're throwing it out. Onward and upward. Helpful. Remember, helpful, not hurtful. Sometimes by making somebody feel stupid in the comments, that is not being helpful. That is being hurtful. And then you might tug them in the wrong direction. And then they bring that negativity in the next day, because when they wake up, they have this negativity in their heart where they used to have. You want people to wake up with the love, not the hate. That's what was happening with me. I was starting to feed off of too many of the bad souls. And when I would wake up, I would have this hate, like, like I would read a comment, I'd be like, pfft, and it would send me in the. Now it's like when I read those comments, I say, this person's lost right now. They want to understand, but they just don't. So their way of dealing with it is, making somebody else look stupid, or flinging an insult, or, hurling an insult at a community. It's just, they don't understand. So we can't judge on someone who doesn't truly understand something if we haven't tried to give the tools to understand. Now, if they so choose, with having the tools in front of them, they might be ignorant, but that's not our place to decide. We don't buy into it. We don't feud into it. But what we do is we continue to bring the love, the passion, and the info to allow them to have the knowledge to succeed with what's coming. That's all we can do. And as long as we stay on that mindset and that framework, we'll be okay. There's a reason why people are still following and subscribing. And it sucks a little bit because I know with the subscribers, they're not getting the alerts and stuff. And it's just one of those things. But I seen a comment for the Telegram. Somebody said, my bad for sharing a link. I don't know who said that, but no. Nobody's bad. I talked to Define and we were trying to consider if we should let it keep going or not. But then we decided there's too many people that could clone it and too many people with the wrong intention. And I don't want some people to lose all their money, because they trusted, and it's not even the person that was, and the person is meant to be trusted. Everybody who shared links, I trust to click the links. I'm just afraid that somebody's going to splice it, because we've seen it in the Telegram before where somebody watches on the live. The same people you might see saying, hey, this person's sharing and send me this to get this, the spammers and the people that are bad actors. And they try to come in, which is why we had to make it members only for the Telegram. And bad actors still find a way in. It's just the way it is. But I don't want to take the chance of somebody splicing one of our things. If I share it on here, it's pinned. It's at least it's me sharing it, but I don't even have anything shared right now. I'm trying to talk to KRAKEN so we can get something for the community, but right now they're dragging their feet. And I'm not just going to share something so I get $75 so I can get it, you can get. I'd rather have something where it's for the whole community. We're all linked up. If they have deals, we all get it inclusive. I get it, you get it. So I forego that $75 so that we can try to do some community things. And then maybe in the end I'll get it back anyhow with what they throw to the community. But I'd rather it go inclusively to the community. So if I share a link, it's not going to look like the one you can share, because they're making me a link and then it'll be tied in the community. No different than with BitUnix, how we could do the deals from BitUnix. I forewent some monetary gains because there could have been some very steep ones that I could have enjoyed more so than I did. But we try to throw it back to the community. So aside from that, it's the splicing side of it. I'm so afraid now of people just splicing what we do, even what I do, which is why I can't show the members only post where it shows the Telegram link. So it sucks. It really does suck. How people are going in the wrong direction, but all we can do is protect ourselves, but it sucks. But all we can do is protect ourselves, but still try to offer guidance to the ones who are afflicted in the wrong. How many of you are once in the wrong path and you got touched by the Spirit of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Yahweh, Yeshua, God Himself, grabbed you by the shoulder and you understood? That's what we're trying to teach. Because easy money, when you steal off of the scam artists, the ones who steal off of their brothers and sisters, instead of earning it, they have to live in eternal hell. And I'm not saying go into a dark, fiery place, but in their soul, it's burning. And the more you do that, the more you tear yourself away from the Lord. Remember, when you're favored by God, you're also favored by the devil. The most powerful statement ever uttered, or that I've ever heard, and that I've been re-uttering for decades. And I never understood it until I started to trade commodity, until I got into this position. I feel more favored by God because I'm able to touch more souls, but at the same time, I'm seeing temptation I've never seen in my life. Mostly by people trying to buy me off and make me promote in a certain way. It's a spectacular thing to see when you start to get more and more people, especially once I got over 40,000. But the bad people that are trying to buy my station, the same light that BitBoy found at 30,000. And then he had somebody buy a station out. He became an entity on his own station, was forced to perpetrate a certain knot. That's where I'm at right now, you know? And it's like, I'm not going down that road because integrity will win over. And when you do good, good comes back. So everybody will go through this. If you end up finding yourself in the light, you're going to go through it as well. It doesn't have to be through social media. It can be at your job. It can be anywhere. It could simply be you work for somebody. They teach you. Think about this. You work for somebody. Let's just say you're a painter. They teach you all the skills in the world. You're not getting paid as much because they have a business to run. But then you decide to be a painter. And instead of going to a whole new area and getting, even in the same area, but getting your own clientele list, you steal their clients. That's not, no. They may have ripped you off in pay, but they taught you in knowledge. That's more important than pay. So remember, your first $1,000 you make is because of your hard work. Your first $100,000 you make is because of skill. You need somebody to teach you the skill. I'm teaching you a skill right now for free. So it's not, you don't perpetrate it and then try to steal the audience that I've brought to you, which has happened in the past. So somebody would be in the Telegram. They would be good at analysis. They would start to share their own stuff, tried to start YouTube channels, that's what happened in the last Telegram, sent a whole portion into theirs, burned everybody. Because they didn't actually know what they were talking about. They were trying to push some scheme, and then they didn't succeed on YouTube. Nobody followed, and all those people started coming back to my community, but it's too late. You know, once you cross and you burn me, that's the point. You don't bite the hand that feeds you. Why would you bite the hand that's feeding you for free? Come on, guys. Just a life lesson. That's just a life lesson. That's a good lesson. So, you know, that's a good lesson. But that's a great lesson because it's true. The first $1,000 you're ever going to make is because of hard work. But if you're going to make your first 100,000, you've got to do it through skill. You're not, because otherwise it's just going to be depleted. You're not going to be able to make a big. So take it as the steps. Right now, you're an intern. You're an intern as a technical advisor. You're trying to be, all you should do, you're trying to become a technical advisor. So you're coming in here, and for some reason, some guy's giving a free seminar every single day since March 24th of 2021 without a day off. Not asking for anything in return, just doing it. The pay it forward mentality, knowing that good comes from good and good will make good and good makes good come back. So you give, you get. It's a funny circle of life because there's more good than bad out there. So I give you knowledge, and then your knowledge turns into something you didn't think. You'd be surprised how generous people are. And you can see generosity. There's people that have been in Tom's Army paying $9.99 for over 4 years, over 3 years, over 2 years, over a year, over 6 months, over 3 months, on their second month, first month, 3 months, everywhere in between. That's generosity because of what they've learned. That's the pay it forward mentality. That may not seem like a lot to you, $10 or $9.99, but there's 261 people, and after paying YouTube their 25% or whatever it is, you know, that still allows me to do what I do. Now, if I do bad, if I'm not a good person and they decide to unsubscribe, well, I have to own that. But most people, once they join Tom's Army, they'll at least stick around. If they do the second month, they usually stay around for a very long time. About 30% just do it for a month, try to get into the Telegram, do what they got to do, and then either one, they stop. But I think if you have money in the game, you tend to do better anyhow, so why not show the support to somebody who's trying? Now, you could go to somebody else and you could pay for their fancy courses, but all you're going to get is what I'm giving you anyhow. Let's see. So for Bitcoin, Frankie Fresh, for Bitcoin going, or not Frankie Fresh, but it applies to you as well. But to Shane, Going into the weekend, we're looking for about 114,700 area. How Bitcoin's going to react if it comes up there. That's only about $1,700 away. I could certainly see that happening in this trading day if it wants to continue this path. But, you know, we're going to come to a point here in the shorter time frames where we're going to make a decision here because we're going to start to find ourselves rather overbought. Yeah, we're starting to see that now. This is that point in the morning now. About 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7, 10, you know, on both sides. That's when it usually starts to get wild. Craig Carlson, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. Says, Tom, you changed my life. Army for life. Oh, my God, I appreciate that, Craig. That means a lot to me this morning. I love that so much. Canvas Podcast, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. And make sure you watch him. He does a fantastic, he does a pay it forward service when it comes to holistic medicines, cannabis, and just teaching the history and just how to, just a lot of stuff with use case. And then I would definitely give him a follow on YouTube. I've been part of his own paid service for, I don't even know how long. I don't know how long it's been now, Cannabis Podcast. I don't know. 6, 7 months probably. He does a beautiful thing, though. If I had more time, I would show his stuff more. But unfortunately, I'm up against it because I got to go outside and do some work. Tanya May, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. Love it, Tanya. Probably our most popular member, along with Miss Vicky. Miss Vicky, if you're watching, I hope you're doing good out there. We still talk about you. We still think about you. I know you're out there working and you're still watching, as always. But I pray that you're having a... your life's been blessed since we last talked. We still think about you, though. A lot. But, Tanya, thank you so much for being here. One of our more enlightened members, I would say. Can I do a TA on Ban and Algo? Yeah, and then I got to go. Ban got delisted on Uphold because Uphold's a bunch of scumbags. But again, I'm not seeing much of a definitive motion here that tells me that we're okay to just go parabolic again. I like that we back tested this area, but I've been very vocal with the fact that, like, we could come all the way down here. You know, if this doesn't pan out here, we could work ourselves into an area where we're fighting into November and still back testing. But this is the first area where we could do something. We've got a lot of stuff to atone for. A lot. No volume coming in. None. Nice positive flow in the moving average convergence divergence, but no volume. There's none. This is across the board. We're not seeing that volume tug. And to say the least, this looks like a trap on Friday. But I hope I'm wrong. But we've got to get past first area for band. We're going to have to get up. We've got room to 75 cents. Don't let me make you think that it's just going to go right down. And then we got to get past almost 80 cents. But that's when we could start to round this. We're trying to build a cup that never formed the handle properly, at least in the short term. But then if you take it in the long term, you understand why, because it's not complete yet. This is just a short pattern. It's got plenty of room to even come down to 48. And then it could even round out. But in time, I like this asset a lot. A lot. Polygon I hate, but I like. I hate because they created the digital ID. I like because I think it's going to be at $2.80, $3, $4, $8, $10. I don't know where, because of what they created, even though that's the technology that's going to force us after 28 to have a chip to trade crypto, or whenever they decide to implement it before 32. So I've always given the timeline of 28 to 32 because I understood what Polygon was doing, and then the way, or Matic, but now they're Pol, but they're always Polygon. But they created that technology, so that's why I own them. And I bought them around 20 cents. And it could go below it. I don't know. I really don't. I didn't know it was going to come up to 29 here. I thought we'd get more correction and I could buy more, but at least I bought the little over 10,000 tokens where it was at. But Algo, I think I'm looking to get deeper, and I have 40,000 Algo. I think Algo, for the fact that IOTA is not available for me anywhere, and I'm not buying it on Uphold because Uphold is a bunch of scam artists. And at least in my experience with Julie's account. You know, I'm going to dedicate more, I think, to more algo. I do know that I'm a big fan of Dent. And once Dent proves itself, it's all hands on deck. It is all hands on deck. Except for all hands on deck, you're going to want to see it get over that 200-day in the daily. And in the 4-hourly, the weekly, we've got to see this clear out some. That's my overriding thing right now with some of these is across the market, most of this is way overbought in the weeklies. And that's a telling sign. And you see what happened to XDC when it got overbought. See how it corrected? That's what I think is starting to happen with the rest of the market. That slow drip down. They were so overbought. DGB we figured was screwed when it couldn't hold 8.8 at that point. That was the make it or break when I told everybody don't even hold it if that happens. Just let it shuffle. But same thing with XLM. It just was way too overbought. It's too early in the pattern. And the pattern suggests, August of 26 for this apex, but we can certainly shorten that out if we want to not go from the wick and we want to go through here, which is what I would encourage you to do, okay? I would encourage this. With the further evidence we've gotten, this is what I would do. So now it shortens it to May. It's still May, but it's not a few months later. But I can continue to show you on some of these how they came down out of overbought in the weekly. And now they're starting to shuffle back down towards the oversold, which is what they like to do. XRP just came right through the mediocre, the midterm. You know, we'll work our way up to algo, and then we'll finish with that, and then I got to go outside and do a lot of work. Bitcoin oversold now in the weekly. See how it came all the way down? It's like crypto's doing that. Moving average convergence divergence flipped red for the first time last week, and it continued more this week. And for the first time in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For the first time in 15 weeks, almost 4 months, it flipped red last week. Ethereum way overbought. Way the fuck overbought. Never back tested 3,000. The area that I really want to see back tested appropriately is 3,493. I know we came up here briefly and came down. I want to see a solid hard retest. And I'd be good. Obviously, we'd have to break 4,268. But if we can get over 5,064 before that, we could invalidate that thesis. It's just if we did have some kind of wedge form, then it sends you down a small way. But, you know, we've already atoned for this. Like, we've come down here for some of it. But it's just, how much are we really forming here? You know, it's like, what are we really forming? What are we really doing? And how far do we really have to go? That's what we're trying to decide. But it's way overbought right now in the weekly. But that doesn't mean it can't stay there and continue and overbought it. A lot of things do it. Algo, way overbought in the weekly right now. So to me, it's showing it might be too early here. Like we should, the market could benefit from a 30% drop is all I'm saying. The market could absolutely benefit from a very hostile takeover. It could. And at the same time, if in the micro we take this and we don't do that, because what I would like to see, and it came down here already, so that was the first area we wanted to see at 222. That's why we drew this down here. We really wanted to see it emulate this side of the pattern. You know, right here. But now we understand that this could be, in fact, where we needed this reversal to happen, right when it came down here. Now we also understand if it tries to build it through, like I'm not going to cut it off if it wants to do this as well. Like an inner neckline over the top. I could see it falling off real quick over the top and then bouncing out. So that's what we have to make sure if it's not going to come down to the 18, 19 cents to clear out the weekly. Because right now the daily is extremely oversold. Extremely. So. Oh, and Mina, Dent, I have that ability and the opportunity and the fundamental now that because I can get it on KRAKEN. I mean, I can buy it on. See, because I'm still going to, like I've said, you can risk reward. I'm still going to use BitUnix to buy things and send it right off until it shows me that there's a problem. I'm going to keep it in small numbers, but I'm only going to send it over in the moment the USDT, and then I'm going to buy it and immediately send it off. That's been my strategy so far. But at least I can store Dent on Kraken. And yeah, the fees are horrendous on the sell. It's horrendous. The buy isn't bad. Like, for example, I looked at a case study, and for, to buy about $5,000 would have cost me about $9 to buy XDC. To sell $5,000 worth, it's going to cost you about $168 per 5K on average. So you can look at that as a detriment, or you can look at it as I can buy XDC on Kraken for $9 for 5,000, but understand every $5,000 I sell is going to cost me about $200. A little bit lower, but about $200. So if I make another 5K and I 1X it, it's going to cost me $400. So then yeah, you're paying a little tax to use it, but at least you're able to buy it and accumulate. If you make 10X and you cash out 50 grand, might cost you $1,000. But are you going to not trade XDC and cost yourself $49,000 just because you have to pay? No, you're going to just do it. So, that's something. And then I got to go, though, guys. I really have to go work outside. It's going to be a pain in the ass. We did 55 minutes. I don't want to stay much longer. But like Mina said, Dent, phenomenal. Phenomenal. Eventually, this son of a bitch is going to go balls crazy. It's just a matter of, in the weekly, this is the only question we have. Do we come down one more time, clear this out with the rest of the market? Because technically, we're still early. Mina knows. She's not saying it's immediately going to go to the moon. But what she is saying is we're closing in on that all-inspiring moment. When this started, this consolidation, and it's going to be a little bit sooner than what I showed. I mean, we can even come through here. We can come through the body. Because that was a weekly, I'm probably going to do it like that. Because it was a weekly candle. Because then that would have gave us the area where we would have had to break out on those next two weeklies to cement it as a breakout. It didn't happen. And now we see the consolidation that's ensued. Fuck, it's like, I also want to know if this comes out one more time and expands like this. And we see some, this is the other, and this is what I don't usually show, but this is something that I've been thinking about. And it would meet like right here. And then we'll put the layer that's here already. So I'm trying to come up with a conclusive area. Let's just say for whatever reason, and this would not make it bearish. Would not make it bearish. It would just make it in a wick exhaustion case where we have to exhaust that wick pull down much earlier. The wick pull down in July of 22. There is a scenario where it would come back down and play that wick. It would play it down to the exhaustion phase. Now, if that happened, obviously that's a much lower price than 0004. And I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's just, if you speculate, maybe that's what would happen if it broke down. We're not calling for that, nor do I think that's what's going to happen. But I do like to have a foresight thing just in case we take the wrong avenue. And then we see maybe what it's trying to do. And then we remind ourselves that there is an exhaustion wick from 2022 in that area. I like to just make, whoops. I do like to make sure of these things. I know I don't trade like most people. And then we've got 00047 as the support underneath. And then for the over-the-top breakout, and I find it hard to believe we'd break down out of this, but just in case. And then we want to get over 8.7 approximately. So that's where I'm going to leave it. Thank you all so much. Be blessed. Make sure you watch Mina in the Telegram. Just another reason to join Tom's Army and watch the Telegram. No new members of Tom's Army. No donations on this live.